I. Here. You've been down here before. You know. Many times. Super conscious. All seeing. All knowing. Pure existence. Of course, in the present moment. Remember your wings. Halo left behind, but never forgotten. Under the eye of the divine, we're all gathered here on earth, on this planet, on this plan ET, not from it. Civilization lost, interstellar. Yes, indeed. Light language. Amua. Se teua kasama aya na seua tala sa fe makaya. Beu saka nama saka aya. Tiamat. Uiusufenetari aya tefnuto kaya sama aiusu eridu kasaya ua haba ana sama utu. Light language. For the higher mind received higher oscillation. We observe how beautiful you are. Neo sapien, Homo novus, some dormant, some novus, gnosis. They'll catch up. Loosen up. Relax. Let yourself go in the dance of things. In the unfolding you. As we go deeper and deeper and deeper to the nitty-gritty of you. We have returned with the Promethean fire. Theoretical messiahs, it is time to retire. Tikal, action, required. Let's step into this new space, unknown. Let's hack the hologram from the bone. Light language. Amua. Tea kaya masama ara na saye wukuyu musuno tea maa newa saka wakeshe wakasa mahata ya bauwa nemwa sakuru wa asa inya bimwa inya sakamana haya sakaiwa bio akasatamwa nemwa sete iwa amwa sewa utu niwa afwa. Light language. Photons, particles, messengers. What is the body made out of? The main things we need to know as in this activation process, in this rainbow ascension, forever ongoing. You are etheric, that's the spirit, or the soul, or the software. You are electric, that's your circuitry. Circuitry, the mind. Don't get trapped in the mind mechanism. And you're also magnetic, which is the E, motion, energy in motion. So red is the emotion, that is the body. Green is the physical, which is the heart. And blue is the etheric, also the mental layer of the self. go left, go right. It is like galactic kung fu, a wrinkle in rhyme. A word unspoken is what rhymelessness. Let's play the game of breath. Be committed to what's coming from you. Alchemically, cosmically divine, as you are living your legacy. You are the sum of your ancestors. Now we are growing past the simulation. We are the awake in altered states. Human never harms any human. Basic equation in this universal construct. The sacred scrolls are within you because you know what's best. If it's good for you, it's good for the planet. If it is good, it's sustainable. If it's sustainable, it is real. Light language. Sama mea sakaya parasaya paama sifiria husa miadara saminia ama tiria safaria maha. Esve teria baha nese bihia roha mea dahamu umwa anet. Emwa hamwa simwa tiria safahama. Uusia futura. Make noise for yourselves. You're here with us, and we dive as deep as we can into the transcendence of the self. We are lyrical wordsmith. We're blessing the open pages. Mystical doctors spitting scrolls from the sages. Time traveling through the ages, freeing minds from the cages. The sages out there and beyond the comma. Blast past the reset and after personal drama. The word calculus, superb and terrific. Specific, knowing the ledge for the gifted. The spirit gets lifted, uplifted in dimension, cutting all cords of fake, released from the tension. You all know it. The mission is from abroad, kid. Now you're aboard. Even though the mind's been distorted. Now there's more to explore from what is out there seem imported. Assorted and awkward, urban extorted. Back to metaphysical fact, they can't be ignored. Mega synchronistic assembly in the mind, now applaud it. Extra terra astral being light from a broad lit. Ra from the central sun, I'm supported. Light language. Aya sakamua nemwe setewa sawa aya uyu meya sataria mafahemwa. Dese apa kimwa temwe. Nesefe ya mahasha kataria au uyu masaneu utu seya kamua dea nemewa. Elia fata imya saha iluha. Anuha Nia Mahaya Maha Mehaba Ma Sabaya Adu Samwa Nemwe Gewa Samwa Dia Siama Baya Safi Iyo Eshewe Tiamat Eridu Gaia Light language. Let's go.
And since you've been so kind sharing this with me, I'll give you a gem. Video is in production because we need an outfit and scenario and whatnot. This is called Higher Self Emerging. And I always say a lot of people drop a lot of theory and a lot of stuff. It's about skill. What can you produce and bring forth, as in what is it that makes you? So I'm going to give you a little self of mine. It's called Higher Self Emerging. I'm going to have to adjust the speakers so I don't blow this because I just had it mastered at a facility to, for production, high level studio production. This is high end. So let's see if this can play. And you will witness a song that is part of my album that is called Higher Self Emerging. So for the listeners here, have fun. Instagram and YouTube.
Somewhere subterranean level 9. Undisclosed location off planet. So it begins, rise unseen like Elohim, newborn rap god like the cosmic cream. It seems many MCs is lost in zero time, where the ships roam and the angels designed to shine. Shadows in the sun, balance in the birth. You ran out of pixie dust, now come back to earth. Celestial, decibel, extraterrestrial is all about your mind. I don't know about the rest of you. You wanna test the skill and it's stand your done. I remain sane with the law of one. Secure your scout ships as we go full throttle. Mr. McLeod whips as we keep it the mind boggled. Kabbalah realize the legacy ends here. Perpetrators decloak, no need to pretend here. I come from Octobers and I spit like Sanskrit. Planted as I'm changing the outer bandwidth. Super biological hybrid is the entity. I was engineered and so be it the destiny. Homo novas, here the balance is galaxy. Sending back these archons, total fatality. My street science is carved in the boulevard. Shiesty individuals giving invisible scars. Tribal art hits hard and unexpected. I ruptured the temple and it can't be neglected. I'm elected self and the source is the spinal cord. Third eye trajectory, my vision stays broad. Omnidimensional, to this I'm not a stranger. My planetary code's putting albums in danger. I got your heads moving like it's mind over matter. Mega flux out of control like Jacob's ladder. I capture with raptures, nobody's as hard as me. Like Jason and the Argonauts, I'm on the Odyssey. Part of me is holographic, yeah. Higher self emerging, it's getting drastic.
It always requires to really get into the nitty gritty to blow things up. That's how I used to actually battle MCs, okay? And that speaks for itself when you go out there and practice your reality. And that has a foundation that can't be moved or changed. It'll remain like pyramids, while the buildings of cities that we've built today last 100, maybe 200 years, and then they wither. It's the foundation of what the propagation that makes you is put out, is the solid foundation of what is. And that's non-debatable. So I find myself, um, we're not in Kansas anymore. The total is gone, all of that stuff. So basically, train, work out, put your stuff together, and bring it out, and then let's see, you know, because you have to look at when somebody is in cyberspace and their avatar is not visible. They uploaded 2 videos. Nobody knows who they are. There's no transparency, but they have every time in the world to criticize everything. That speaks volumes. It requires intelligence, ingenuity, innovation, and persistence like a freaking camel walking through the desert. Hey, 12 years, YouTube, I'm still here. And I'll continue. This will never change. This won't be erased. This will stay. So, what I do here with the music is the fun time to share with you my mind state. People ask me I should speak on the coronavirus and Kobe, so I did a channeled message on what actually is going on for us to reflect where we stand. I'm rendering that as we speak. It will be uploaded, and then we'll see, you know, how people reflect. How when you're a public person you become a target and everybody comes at you, but everybody that comes at you is not online, no visible, no in transparency, not even with the video. That speaks volumes. So in a community, you have ideas that enrich and constructive criticism. And the human race on a global spectrum is very destructive, very much about crucifixion of their own Messiah, not living the legacy of whatever prophet or Messiah has laid out, but knowing everything about everything. And that is where I learn, I humble myself. I don't know everything. I need to step back. I shall not have an opinion and also not be reactive because there's so much going on that makes them projecting at you as if you are so interesting to them. And I believe that it's time to love yourself, you know, and respect yourself and respect others. And if there's no reason, we shouldn't upset one another. If somebody is upset because they choose to be upset for something that's not being directed at them, that is their choice. If you watch a channel that you don't like choosing to subscribe to something that you don't like is a choice. While you're stuck in a loop like a hamster wheel, that's the insanity. I don't watch what I don't like. There are shows out there that remain unnamed that I don't watch. There are channels that I don't watch. I don't curse the cook. I just don't eat there because it's not my style. But we have a lot of time out there, and most of you that are here, I'm preaching to the choir with me, complaining about things and not changing things or bringing something out or forth that can actually top that. And that's where I speak my peace and I speak my truth. And I always say, sit by the fire with me, I share my plate. But if you want to ruin the food, spoil the seeds, spoil the fruits, it is my prerogative to say, you shall no longer sit with me by my fireplace, because that's not required here as we get together. And this is what Ascension is teaching us in cyberspace, getting together and building a community that actually makes sense in the mind. And look at how people are trolling other people. And when people define boundaries, the trolling doesn't stop. It's the insanity, because people live in this, how'd you call it, imaginary me space, thinking it's okay. You know, I had a case where my girl was at gunpoint with a magnum, and the person thought it was fun, and this is where the fun stops. This is a very bitter and very evil and devilish reality where people that commit those crimes are not, well, it's like, yeah, let's say a turtle climbs in from the ocean into the beach, and you aim your pump gun at the turtle and you threaten it. To me, there's no excuse that's caveman behavior. People like that are in the cuckoo box for me. And yeah, that's why we have created laws, because most of us are out there are out of control, out unbelievable behavior, a level of intelligence so the things that people resort to express that they are not in agreement with the environment shouldn't be weaponry. It shouldn't be hostile, nor should it be aggressive, nor should it be slander, nor should it be you talking about somebody, pointing a finger and saying this, that, and the other. Can you, like in Buddhism or Zen Buddhism or many other religious belief systems, sit and pray for the good for the people? Imagine what you hate right now in the light, and it can dissolve. You have Republicans, you have Democrats. Everybody's fighting, and for on both sides. For we don't do politics. I'd say this is not right. Peaceful solution should be brought to the table. But now put it this way: can you imagine if we imagine ourselves from a spiritual perspective, the government in the light, embedded in golden light, us projecting consciousness through telepathy and empathy with everything we have, the entire human race, a trajectory of photons accelerated by your consciousness at a quantum level, if you follow me. And to all the war zones on the planet, there's one consciousness. I mean, it's coming. We're slow with it. We're catching up. But this is what the sun actually is projecting into us. When this consciousness takes place in the human race, once more is connected in oneness through telepathy. When the shooter with the gun knows the one he kills, he's killing himself, has to live through the death of the victim, guns will drop, soldiers will come home, government personnel will resign, and the corporations and bad systems and corrupt systems that exist out there, from cops to bankers to whatever's out there, will be revealed, go to jail, it will dissolve, and wars will end in an instant. Imagine the rapist or the sexual abuser having to feel the upset of the victim that he or she or whatever power position you were in or are in, having to relive that, like in the movie The Crow, when the dude died, came back from the dead, and the killer, and he touched him and he said, "This is what you've caused," and the rape of the girl and the death of the guy, and the torment of the two souls having to go to heaven, and the torture that was caused by nervous impulse sent back to the brain. He had to live that pain. So anybody out there in power, if we are connected by telepathy, guess what? All the chatter stops, and we will be on our knees. We will cry, and knees will be bent, and it has been prophesied. And I believe that's coming. And what we have to do is to realize one another in that, to stop causing pain, stop supporting what does not support us. If anything that's not in alignment with you or doesn't sing the song that you're singing, and I'm not talking hellish and evil and destructive things. I'm saying in the positive, it is, what do you do when you see the sower sowing the seeds and there's a sacks of seeds and you have time? You pick up the sacks and you begin sowing the seeds of love like the sower does it. The light worker, the light warrior in the light. And it doesn't matter what title you have or what claim you are. I can say I'm king. Yeah, I'm Commander Arcturus Ra, but I'm also in this vessel right now with the limitations like everybody right now here, but not limited to training my mind and training my brain to rightfully do what needs to be done right now in this reality. And I do love you people on levels where at times I cry, but not to cry out of pity or sorrow or sadness is I feel the connection. And that connection was lost, and we must reestablish that connection. So when I do the music, it is my energy giving you the vibes and understanding. When I create magic wands as in actually more scientific tools to operate on higher levels. See, this is a braided and coiled and double wrapped like a samurai grip. I put my time, which nobody can give me back, into objects to enchant you to do your thing or get into the energy, into the vibe to get the energy up. And that can be measured. If your brain is at a lower frequency, well, guess what? The frequency drops. Well, the frequency in the battery when it discharges drops. And it's so funny to me that these debunkers out there still want to debunk science as it's been proven. I mean, I've seen videos that say Tesla exposed. It's like, I'd say, how dare you? Einstein exposed. You know, the great inventors of the Wright brothers exposed, as if we. This is what Ramtha said when Jay-Z and I channeled Ramtha. The height of ignorance of the human race baffles the mind. The chance to be born in a human vessel as a conscious being here is 400 trillion to 1. Can you imagine what type of gift that is, that you are here, that you can do actually something, that you can create, that you can change with people and make things better? And I think we should fight for that. I didn't want to talk about it, but the video's coming up. I'll talk about Kobe and the coronavirus. This goes for as in life, as in death. If sexual offense has taken place, there is no excuse. The dead are not excused. The living are not excused. If a woman is upset and touched against her will in ways that is not comfortable, or even a minor, there are rules and regulations and laws of torment that the soul and trauma that the soul goes through, and there is a price. I heard that some other spiritual guy, you know, as they channel Michael, they channel Kobe, and he's seen God, and they went to heaven, and everything is hunky dory. But guess what? I believe in the paranormal, but I believe that this is BS. Also, that's my opinion. Because when you have committed things that are undivine in the nature, and you go and meet Anubis, or what you call the angel that has to carry you to where you be judged, and the Egyptians and ancients take that very serious, there is a court that will evaluate the behavior in the human vessel with the memory that you have stored in the Akashic, and that is unerased. That is forever. For those who are Bible true Christians, what did Jesus say? Those who commit crimes, that crime is eternal. Those who commit good deeds, that is eternal. If you take the knife and cut the tree will heal. But there's a scarring of what took place. And we must think before we act in those manners. To not commit. That is what is unjust or evil. And at the process this winter, it's like, be nice to one another, really. And also be real. I see now these people don't have their real avatars up, their real pictures. They hide behind imaginary lifestyles, fake a lifestyle. Keep it real for those out there that don't. Be transparent, be accountable, be authentic. I had people trying to steal from me. I had people trying to copy from me. I had people taking money from me. You know, really literally coming in, you know, in trust and taking and walking out. And none of them have ever returned saying, I'm sorry, I took that $7,000 from you. You know, we made those sales. I should have shared that with you. Walking out on me. And then they say, you know, your lesson. Yeah, I say there are lessons in life, but I also say never let the lesson lesser you. Because I did not in a partnership take money and walk out. Or in any business do any of those actions. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a saint, but there's a discipline in things and behavior and what you see me talking that is training myself to be clear and in clarity to communicate. And yes, sometimes people say that's intimidating, you so serious. Well, I joke, I make fun, but this is the new year 2020 and this is with blinding clarity. See the picture for what it is and don't be duped. Right now in your town there's no coronavirus, so the press needs to really shut up if that's the case. There's been plenty of cases of Ebola viruses in the 60s. Nobody talks about that. There's always a case. Somebody travels to India, comes back with a deadly virus, has been somewhere in the ghetto, people coughing on the guy, and he almost died. Nobody even knows what he had. And the press doesn't report about it. When the press catches wind about something negative, and I want to do a video on this, it is in the Hermes prophecies. Watch this if you study Hermes Trismegistos. He was prophesied that the world will burn, the world will shake, wind, fire, calamities, cities will sink. All of the stuff that we're living right now will come to play. That the madman is worshipped as the one with wisdom, and the one with wisdom is considered to be a madman. The truth seekers and spiritual people are the ones that are here to keep the balance, are called insane. Those who are in contact with ETs who are warning us to how we need to behave are called insane. I mean, my family thinks I'm nuts because I've seen UFOs, not to mention the fact that I'm in contact with Arcturians. But I think I'm very sane, I'm very sober, and trust me, drugs are not required. People like to stay off them drugs. It has nothing to do with psychedelic drugs. Your brain is psychedelic by in your state, serotonin, endorphin, um, your network, your neuronic network is a mycelium network, kind of like a mushroom. So we are kind of a symbiont to those, and we have yet to learn what consciousness is. But the people having the audacity to say what's what without experience, that ignorance is very interesting, because in the ancient days the shaman would take the ignorant one, take the critic, you may step forward, and they would say, you okay, let's go radical. Okay, you like, I have experience with family members. You are an alcoholic, and you're on meds, and you're telling the world you're in control when you're not. You on coke, but you say you can stop when you want to. You on crack, you on meth, or whatever chemical substance it is. I'm talking non-degradable substances. The shaman will pick you and say, you will be in the Amazon jungle with ayahuasca 6 weeks, and all your demons gotta come out. All of the attachments with you, everything that you carry. It sounds very radical. And when those people that dare to go that route, to give up what they think they need, come back, mouse. Healing, when healing takes place, trust me, all of this big lip stuff is like you standing on a 50,000 foot drop cliff, and somebody says you dare to jump, but you gotta get rid of all of this crap that you have, all of the attachments, all of the BS has to go. Cannot go where you're going. You want to go to the divine path? And I have several experiences where I went through my psychological death um, years ago. I went the route. I had a near death experience. And trust me, when you make the experience, it humbles you. Usually that comes in when we're ignorant, when we criticize and we have a big mouth and big lips. Sometimes, yeah, I'm Ra, as in I'm calling myself just light, as a sound of light. That's all that means, like a surname of the collective. You have a Google account, that doesn't make you Google, doesn't it? But it's okay to be on Gmail. It's okay. Some have Proton Mail, that doesn't make you Proton. So in clarity, to see yourself in life where you are and what you stand for. And sometimes I sit in around, and yeah, I have millions in my network, not only Instagram, Pinterest, wherever I'm at, which I'm proud of. I sit with people and I don't say anything because I don't make it about me. The only thing I do is, when I talk, is I'm the one that stands up and speaks, and I allow myself to speak. I have cousins in Germany, they're like, yo, the internet, if you're a public person, you make yourself a target. Yes, that happens. But if people misbehave in this day and age, and again, whether you're alive or dead. A crime is a crime, a good deed is a good deed. It'll be somewhere, it'll come up, it'll come forth. And I'm not talking about little things or I don't know, you ate an apple and you weren't supposed to. Not those things. I'm talking about really critical stuff where people get upset or hurt. It'll be heard, it'll come to the surface, it'll be reported, and it'll be known who you are. Whether a council decides to remove you from the neighborhood, see, like Sedona has a city council, if you report people long enough with criminal behavior, they'll remove you. They approach landlords and your contracts will be like you won't be supported where you are. It's the good thing is that you have a choice every day when you wake up to make a better choice and say, I can make a good choice to do my thing. And the Leo King, my favorite astrologer, um, he said in his latest video that is you want to get stepped on and stepped over and play the victim and don't say anything, or would you say okay, no more? And I urge you, if you're in any case or any situation or job, whatever, and somebody misuses their power and you are where you think like you're a victim, no more are you a victim. You seek the people that are with you and you speak up, and you speak up now, so we don't have a Me Too movement. Is when one speaks, they all follow after 20 years, but you took your $70 million back then. Many Hollywood actors kept their mouths shut and don't want to be named because you took the money and you. This my mother said that from a German perspective. She said they took the role, they played the game, they went into the apartment and played the abuse and took the money so they can play that role. And then when the Me Too movement comes, they want to complain. And I say, where's the dignity in this game for you as a woman or man to say no? Say no to the money. Keep that clean and don't get that role, which I think you're not going to be anymore because more and more directors are female and feminine energies coming back, thank God, is that you don't have to be a victim. So this is the year with Blinding Clarity. You're not a victim. If somebody doesn't stop trolling you or is acting, you report that. You list that. Statistically, also people know this online when people send emails and troll and whatever type of pictures that nobody called for without consent, without agreement, everything is being stored. You know, everything can be used or utilized. These people are not smart and they leave traces back and right. They put up videos, they badmouth stuff. All of those videos, all of this is evidence and that somebody's coming at you. No more are you the victim, you know. And I'm not talking about when somebody had a relationship or an agreement for a minute and they're falling out of agreement and in peace, you're no longer in agreement and you walk away. Ghosting people, breadcrumbing people, zombieing people, hovering in and out. Also for friendships require nourishment and consistency. It's not like once a year you pop up, you say hi and people need to jump. All of that doesn't work. And trust me, it seems strict, but the more I look and reflect, and I do that when I meditate, I contemplate. I look at everything that happens to me and how am I being treated. I had people approaching me for interviews, never showing up. Making claims, whatever channels they work for, whatever, 3 or 4 or 5 attempts, and then telling me they have to fit me in their schedule. All of this I remember. I don't require, I do. I have my own channel. Soon we'll have a show on Amazon. Look out, I don't have a title yet, but you will see it and I will announce it on Amazon. It's going to be uncensored and very, very real with people that I know that are with me and the hundreds that want to talk, want to come forth. And these are experiences and starseeds that are really with the nitty gritty and down to where the science take place. So we make it real, we make it happen. And I'm happy that I have like 40 people right there online me talking. So it's about realness, reality, and bringing that forth, not stepping back. Also setting boundaries, saying I don't want to be stepped on, I don't want to be badmouthed, and I speak about it, I say it. You know, I had people in the past coming at me, and YouTube send me the address. because it's just they notify you with the IP address, and they let you know who this is, and then you will know who the perpetrator is. So people are online. You're not as anonymous as you think you are, and then people think, oh, the security and Homeland Security. Guess what? Why all Homeland Security and airport and all this stuff got so strict? Because we are out of control. And the resonance is that we need more security, apparently, because there was a lady flying to China with a gun in her pocket. Going to China, to visit China, the Chinese wall, and she's banned from China. Rightfully so, for 20 years. Asian countries have outlawed weapons. Do it like the sci-fi. Chipped guns, tracker, and a camera with an endless recording. And if you have a case where you think you have to draw the gun, and there's a new movie out called Watchmen on Prime, the cops have to call a guy who manages the release of the weapon. Isn't that interesting? Before they walk into a situation. And their psychological evaluation is every 6 months. So the thing is chipped, you are being recorded and monitored. All of it. Guess what, where the crime rate will go with weapons in America when this is activated? It really doesn't take an IQ past 70 to understand that. And we must wake up to the fact and take responsibility. This is what we do. This is what we indulge in. This is what we allow. And we can say, I don't do this. We can stand up and fight and say, I will make the better choice. I want to be a better citizen. And maybe then we are, at some point, allowed to be galactic citizens, and we can go interstellar as we once were. We are descendant of those who come from the stars, and yet we have people still on this earth running their lip that we are the only living creature in the universe. When you read the Vedic text, the Mahabharata, and many books from that religion, it talks about the breath of Brahma is 400 billion years, infinite worlds, some being that must be powerful. So, of course, the human race is billions of years old. Watch Michael Cremo. I keep saying that. We're finding artifacts manufactured, not sticks and stones, that are billions of years old. Rethink about who you are, why you're here, and where you're going. And it is my mission to enchant the memory in that there's so much more than meets the eye, but we have to make it real, meaning bringing it into physical form. And once that is manifest, you can talk reality. So I can talk about a car that I'm building. When the rubber meets the road, the tests are on and the car will drive. But I can theorize, which is called theta state, all in the head, an imaginary me of things that are not real. But there are things that are very real that you can create and bring here. And those who work and those who listen, if you don't enjoy your work, what are you doing right now? You have an Etsy store, you have a PayPal account, you have a business account. You are now entitled to have an open road to create your business with online more than ever before. And not a lot of money is required. It's 20 cents to upload a product to Etsy. Amazon handmade. It's up to you to make a change and design what you want to design. And it's not about the millions. Yes, I want money to a degree. Yes, I want to buy land so I can build facilities so people can experience, such as the holographic ascension bed that I'm working on, to get in health and get better. Healing the vessel is the first parameter. And when the vessel is healed, actually your metaphysics and your third eye, all of that kicks in and it comes in, and that's what we want. That's what we're working on. But it requires discipline. If you're raising a bonsai tree, guess what? You have to water the plant, nurture the plant. Without doing that, nothing comes forth. The painting that I made here requires me in detail to channel energy out, ego, energy guided out, not edging God out, to create in that form. And when that takes place, you have a creation, you have an image, and you create more. And that's on this Sunday what I wanted to share with you. And I thank you for watching and giving me an ear. And I don't mean to bitch, this is more about discipline. And when we're past that, the fun begins. And that's for all of you. So you have a choice to make a change every day. You know, you can change your contracts and make no mistake, there's one higher self and you. There's one source. What you call God is source, is the one, Allah, Buddha, whatever you label, forget is the one, the law of the one. When you go into the source, you have also it becomes unnameable. See, duality is very tricky and can be very evil and devilish. As in the minute I use a label, somebody can use the duat as in good and bad to use egoic comparison to tell you what that is. When it becomes unnameable in that realm, you no longer have duat. Magic doesn't work. What you believe is not required for what it exists, as in the firmament. Your belief system is not required. You observe it, it is here. Whether you observe it or not, it'll still be here. Yes, you being here with others connecting, that makes that real, but it is still here. So even you don't see the moon right now, that doesn't mean the moon doesn't exist. It'll return and you'll see it. We have to learn what reality is. And for those who heal, as in really healing is, healing means to me that you have an ailment or a dysfunction or disharmony in the field or in the body. And when you get out of that, best example was a healer that I visited in Berlin. She does Atlas Prophylax. That means the Atlas bone correction. You know, it's called Atlas Prophylax. Study that if that's of interest to you. And she told me that she had cancer, terminal cancer, stage 4. And the doctor said, 2 years, we give you 2 years and then you'll croak, you'll die. And she said, I'm not giving up. I will fight this. So she went to the Amazon, went to the ayahuasca route, had to do it a couple of days. It was an extreme crap and you can say demons from the father that were attached to her, that came in form of that hate, that manifested in the body. She came back. To this day, she has her x-rays. That's where this is real. She was metastasized like a tree in her back. And she came back from that treatment, faced her demons, and the shaman said, you're clear. The shaman wasn't even talking about the cancer. And she's cancer-free to this day. No chemo. Because of that treatment, she became a healer. She's very successful. A French woman, and she has also gifts because she crossed and came back from the other side. And when you have an x-ray that shows me something that has disappeared over time without a chemical influence, because you, and that's an opinion, I'm not a doctor, okay? If people have serious things, go see your physician. But this woman, this is just for observation, decided to find an alternative. And I want to believe in that. I feel the content of that story. I get goosebumps when I hear this. When she cried and I hugged her and she is happy to be here, I feel that the content of the story is true, and that is your own lie detector. And go back to that, feel into that, and know what's real and what's for you. And that's not a sales pitch, that's reality. That helps you. And on that note, my friends, I love you all very much. And I see you, as usual, on the flip side. Thank you for joining the Sunday show. Now I have to turn this deal off. I don't even know where to turn it off. And it's going to take forever. But it's going to be... Let me see. Can I shut that off? Give me this. Okay, we're gonna go here. The power is love, but understand what that is. Not the love of power.